Hey, I'm back to talk about my mastectomy journey. I'm having my first prophylactic mastectomy in 17 days. It will be my second mastectomy. My first one was for DCIS and turned out to be also containing some ILC, some invasive lobular cancer. So the invasive lobular cancer is kind of why I'm going back for a prophylactic mastectomy. I don't want to ever wonder if there's something hiding in there that we can't see with scans the same way that we did with my first breast. But there's a lot of reasons that I want to talk about today, or just a few actually, that I'm going across state lines and traveling 200 miles to the next major city to have my mastectomy this time. And that's a change from my first mastectomy, and I wanted to explain why. I've explained a lot of the reasons why on my Instagram daily diary, but I realized that I haven't explained here, where I'm talking about my mastectomy journey in a little bit more polished way and educational kind of way. Although really my videos are meant just to share my story. It's not meant to be educational or in a medical way at all. Even though I am a nutritionist on this channel, I'm just telling my personal story. So today's video, just a few reasons why I'm going up to Seattle rather than staying in Portland this time. I would have thought that going up to Seattle would be for a different reason. I did go initially down to San Francisco to consult with a surgeon about the results of my first surgery. I wanted to have my pathology restudied in a more scholarly research educational setting. So I went to UCSF, University of California, San Francisco. And I had the lobular specialist there, the surgeon who is a specialist in lobular cancer, which is a much more rare cancer than most women have. Most women have ductal carcinoma when they have breast cancer. So I wanted to see a specialist there for the purposes of getting the best advice. And I would have thought that going for surgery in a different state would be for the same reason, to go to a medical institution that is more educationally centered, more research centered. I could have had the experience of going to a research hospital here in Portland, but my research hospital here in Portland does not have the greatest reputation for breast cancer treatment, and it's not covered by my insurance at all in any way. So that made it easy for me to go down to UCSF, which is definitely the best out of all of the major cities on the West Coast other than LA. And then my second choice would have been, and I almost went up to Seattle to go to University of Washington, which is also a research community. And I was going to go there for my medical oncology. I was pretty set on going there. In fact, I had appointments with medical oncologists there. But I decided not to because I found a good medical oncologist in Portland. But I am going to Seattle for my surgery. And the reason for that is I have learned through being burned the first time around aesthetically that I cannot afford to trust another surgical team that I don't feel 100% sure understands what I want, number one, who I am, number two, and respects me as a person and my choices, number three. So that was really hard to find in Portland. I thought I had found it first time around, and I learned after my surgery that this surgeon, especially the plastic surgeon, did not get me. She did not hear me. She didn't understand what I wanted, and she definitely didn't perform and provide what I wanted. What I wanted was either a Goldilocks mastectomy or a flat closure. I wanted smoothness, roundness, no room for implants, no extra sagging skin, no lumps or bumps or nipples. She gave me extra skin the first time around, and then I went back for revision, and she gave me a faux nipple, which I did not want and very clearly did not want. So because she really didn't win my trust and really broke the trust that I had in her and violated it, I've had a really hard time finding another surgeon that I can trust. And I've learned throughout this 9-month process since my first mastectomy that I really need to look at the proof, and the proof is in the photos. And I couldn't find any surgeons in Portland that had photos of an outcome that was like what I wanted. Mostly because I couldn't find any photos of a body like mine. Most of the Goldilocks mastectomy stories or pictures or experiences have happened with women who are obese, and I'm the opposite of obese. I'm almost underweight. and I have a very small frame. I have quite large breasts, so my breasts are a little bit disproportionate for my small frame. And so it's really hard to find pictures of someone that has even like a C or a D size breast with my small frame. But I did, because I got involved in the Facebook breast cancer flat, especially under the flat designation. So there's like 4 or 5 flatties groups on Facebook. And I was looking at pictures and just kind of following the feed of the group, and found someone who had a really good experience in Seattle with a flat outcome, or a Goldilocks mastectomy outcome. She had C-sized breasts, so much smaller than mine. Mine are double D, or I still have one. My one breast is double D. And so she had gone down to like half of an A. And I really liked the way, the smoothness of her outcome. She was really brave and kind, and posted, really clear graphic photos of her outcome, because she was really proud of it and proud of her surgeons. And I thought, well, that's what I want. And I had already scheduled to have surgery here in Portland with a new surgical team that I felt somewhat confident in at that point, but my surgery got canceled and postponed 3 months. And so that's when I saw the photo. And I thought, well, that's really more desirable to me of an outcome than any of the photos that I've seen from my current surgical team. So really, I'm going up to Seattle because of the aesthetics, not because of the medical expertise. I'm not going to University of Washington. I'm going to a hospital system called Swedish. It's a large hospital system. It's got a great reputation, but it's not a research hospital. Well, all hospitals are somewhat research driven, but it's not like specialized as an educational hospital. So it's not the one I would have thought that I would go to, but it is the one that has the photos to prove that there is a surgical team out there that can do what I want to do specifically. And it has a lot of respect for what I want to do also, which is something I was really finding hard in Portland, just talking to surgeons, feeling like they didn't have a lot of value for what I was describing wanting. Most plastic surgeons really value implants, and it's kind of surprising. I mean, Portland has a reputation as being one of the most progressive cities in the country, so you would think that there would be an openness to another way besides implants, but all over the country there is this norm that women that have their breasts removed, they get implants. They save the skin, they make a baggy pouch out of the skin to provide a house for the implant. And I'm one of the rare ones that doesn't want that. And there are hundreds of us that don't want that, but it is not common enough to where it has become something that a lot of surgeons are getting ready for and expecting and respecting, especially plastic surgeons. So I have other videos about all the things I wish I would have known about plastic surgery, and I'll point you to those. But today I'm just talking about the costs and the benefits of going 200 miles to the next major city north of me to Seattle from Portland. And so the things I thought of when I thought about having surgery in Seattle were, the first thing was just not being comfortable right after surgery, not being able to go home to my own bed. And I pretty quickly dismissed that. And then the next factor, of course, was just the financial aspect of it. Seattle is a very expensive city to stay in, and it's a large city, so it's hard to find something close to the hospital, close enough to the hospital, where I could get to my surgery at 6 a.m. in the morning without sitting in traffic for a couple of hours. And that's actually been an issue even for my consultations going up there. Just driving through traffic in the morning, having morning appointments has been a real bummer. So it's a bit of a hassle, but I found that it is definitely worth it. I'm decided that we're going to stay at least 2 nights, the night before surgery and the night after, and we'll probably come home after that, the night after, so the very next day. I will be able to get into my bed before too long, and we've decided to drive. At first we thought we might take the train, partly because there would be less bumpiness or braking of the car, like having to kind of move my body back and forth in the car seat, which isn't always comfy when you've just had a mastectomy. But we decided that it's going to be more just time expeditious to take the car, and also I'll be able to take more clothes, pillows, food, all the things that will make me more comfortable in the Airbnb that we've reserved. I won't do a lot of eating while I'm up there, though, because I'm planning on fasting 24 hours prior and 24 hours after, just in case there is some cancer hiding in my second breast. With lobular cancer, there's a much higher chance of there being a second breast recurrence, and lobular cancer is super good at hiding. It grows like a spider web, so you can't really see it in any scan. So we really don't know if it's in there or not. So planning for the worst, I am going to fast because fasting helps to make the cancer cells go dormant during surgery, which is a much safer option. It's kind of a little known secret that folks like me in the holistic nutrition field know about. But so I'll be fasting quite a bit, and I won't need a lot of soup, but I'll take quite a bit just in case we end up staying longer for any reason. And if we do stay longer, we'll stay in a cheaper place outside of the city. It's about $450 for 2 nights in an Airbnb in Seattle, which is really outrageous. I've never spent that much on any accommodation, even in Hawaii or Barbados when we went on our honeymoon. So it's really expensive 2 nights, but we wanted to stay close to the hospital for those 2 nights. So if we stay for the first or for the next, the second night through the 5th night and stay until I get my drain out for whatever reason, we'll do that in either at a friend's or a relative's home. We have a couple of relatives up there that have extra guest rooms and space. One even has an Airbnb that's being remodeled. Or we'll just stay at a cheap hotel out in the suburbs or a little bit further out. Maybe one that I've stayed in before that I'm comfortable in. I have gone up to Seattle and back a number of times now. Once to meet my plastic surgeon, which was the most important person I wanted to meet, and then the second time to meet my breast surgeon. And I've determined it takes a full tank of gas to get there and back, which is about $30 right now. And I don't know that we'll take my Prius, so we might take my husband's car, which is a little bit more spendy with the gas. So it might take more like $50 round trip. And we will have to go up twice either way, because I'll want to get seen 1 week after surgery and then 2 weeks after surgery in person, ideally. I might decide not to do that. I actually met someone who lives even more in a more rural place here in Oregon, who went up to Seattle to University of Washington for her surgery, and she said that she just came straight home and never went back. She just had urgent care remove her drains, and she saved some money that way. But I think we will want to go back. I don't have any other surgeon that would be willing to meet with me and look at my wounds and scars and things, so I think it'll be better to go back, and it's not that far, so we'll probably just do that since that's what they recommended. So yeah, it won't be quite as comfy as just going straight home and getting in my own bed, but I'll have my wedge pillow, my comfy jammies, my soup, and all of my meds, and I think that I will be pretty well prepared for it this time around, because I had it happened to me before, so I kind of know what to expect, and I didn't have any pain the first time around, even right immediately after surgery, so I'm not going to be as uncomfortable as some women are who do have pain. I definitely won't enjoy the car ride home. Any bump or, moving of my body I will feel, but for me, it was more of a pressurized feeling and not a painful or sharp feeling, so I'm not dreading that at all. My husband's a really good driver, so I think it'll be fine. We'll probably eat out a couple times, which will be really good for my mood. We're going to stay in a really fun neighborhood in Seattle called Capitol Hill, and we'll get to go to some really fun vegetarian restaurants, which is always fun because you don't find very many of them in any given city. And I won't be eating meat for the first week after my surgery. So that'll make it more of an adventure. I really like having adventures, and I love making adventures out of medical appointments. So if you follow me on Instagram, you probably have seen that a lot. So I'm looking forward to going up to Seattle. I'm not worried about any of the aspects. If you are thinking about doing something like this and you are worried about financial aspects, you can also get financial grants from organizations like Komen or other local organizations. I've already tapped out my one grant for my local breast cancer support group, I really wanted to go to a really expensive medical oncologist down in Ashland, and I spent a lot of money seeing her a few times, and my local organization paid for the main big intake appointment, which was the biggest chunk of all. So I don't feel like I need financial assistance for any of these costs this time around. I'm back working now, and I have a little bit of savings for it. So, and my husband's got plenty of income too, so we're not strapped at the moment, thankfully. So that could be an issue, but really when you're talking about just like maybe $1,000 with eating out and everything else, gas and the lodging, it's totally worth it to me to go to the next state to have someone that I really trust and someone whose outcomes I've already seen photos of that I'm sure will be a good match for me. So it's totally, totally worth it. I'm not even hesitating. And I definitely would have hesitated the first time around because you just don't hear about people going out of state for surgery very often. I think it's a really good idea if you're at all hesitant with your current surgical team or the people you've been working with thus far to just check out the next best option in the next city over. A lot of people on the East Coast have lots of cities to choose from. Over here on the West Coast, there's not as many, but I'm grateful to have the resources and just the knowledge and confidence to go forward and do this kind of different approach to my second mastectomy. So I just wanted to share that. Be sure to ask questions in the comments below, and if you want to follow me on Instagram, I'll be, reporting out just about every day on how my surgery's going at a breast cancer diary on Instagram, and there's little dots in between each of the words. a.breast.cancer.diary. And I'll see you here or there next time around very soon. Bye-bye.